Solomon, with something which I think already, I think very worshipful Brother Venkat as well as worshipful Brother Vishwa have in the past said, as part of our learning, we have had many sessions during this COVID times, as well as, a lot of papers were presented, as well as material was shared. So I think everywhere, I think what's happening is the Freemasons are reinventing themselves in terms of learning and development, trying to catch up. I personally, in these few months, I learned a lot about Masonry thanks to my conversations with all the brethren of the lodge as well as the district. So now, on a more lighter note, let's hear our worshipful Brother Vishwa on how we can make the lodge meetings more interesting and a lodge a happening place. This is again a very, very essential piece of our brotherhood and Masonry. So over to you, Brother Vishwa.
Yeah. Thank you, Worshipful Master, and thank you for the opportunity given to me today to talk on a topic which I thought is very important. So before I start sharing my presentation, I must say that I do feel a little self-conscious. Self-conscious, yes. Primarily because there were a few speakers before me who had made some very highly erudite presentations. John Matthew, Manoj, many others. And this presentation of mine is not based on some great study or an in-depth analysis. Or an in-depth analysis or anything.
Take some money just in case.
I have to buy stuff from Amrito. And I'll pay to show them. And I'll buy the
Can you mute yourself?
Yeah. Okay. So having said that, I think it's an important point, and I must request for the indulgence of your time in this presentation, and I hope this will widen our vistas as far as the way we look at Masonry and how how we make our own experiences better. So with this, let me start sharing my screen. I hope it works. I'm sorry. Brethren, is it visible?
Yeah, it is visible, worshipful brother.
Okay. So, small correction to what John and Worshipful Master had said. I didn't want to use the word lodge meetings. I wanted to use the word lodge evening because, as I was talking to people about this presentation, meeting meant only what happened inside the temple. And to me, it is about the time from when we, tile to the, the banquet and the end of the banquet. So what is this? I mean, and also, the word, I said something called ruminations because this is something that is the thoughts in this presentation that I'm presenting are something that I have personally regurgitated a number of times. I've had a number of discussions with people in the past on the same lines. And I think, and those thoughts have evolved. And my presentation today is on those, the thoughts that I have evolved over a period of time. Also, the word enjoyable, I have carefully chosen because I think, many of you are aware that I have, I do go for district meetings with the DGM. Whenever there is an installation meeting across in the district, every time he addresses the audience, he finishes it by saying, brethren, whatever you do, you should enjoy your Freemasonry. And you may recall him saying that even in our own lodge. The word enjoy is very important because, that's the only way it's the only way that we're going to get people to come back and, to Masonry. But whoever said that Freemasonry is not enjoyable today? Not me. Freemasonry is certainly a very enjoyable experience. It is very enjoyable for the person who's presently committed. I've known a number of people who have enjoyed Freemasonry, who continue to enjoy Freemasonry. But if that is the case, then why do people leave? Why do people leave Freemasonry? Why are we struggling to find people to join Freemasonry? There must be some issue somewhere. There is some disconnect. Okay. So therefore, the word ruminations, the word, the thoughts that I've assembled together to make, our Lord's experience more appealing to people. So what am I trying to do? Let me read this out. The purpose of the presentation is not to alter Freemasonry as it is in any way. I'm not even suggesting that we should change our rituals, procedures, regulations, ancient landmarks, and pardon me, worshipful master, not even attempting to make you a more humorous person. It's only about a few garnishes that can make the dish more interesting. Are there a few things that we can do in the evenings between the time that we come and we leave that can make our present experience a little more interesting, a little more appealing? Right? So that is what this presentation of mine is all about. So, the thing is about Freemasonry. While I say that, I'm not trying to change anything, I must say that, Freemasonry has not changed at all, but Freemasonry has evolved. If you really look at it, I mean, I read a paper on evolving of Freemasonry. That paper talked about 3 phases of time. One is about a pre-industrial revolution, the post-industrial revolution, and the digital revolution. In the pre-industrial revolution, the families were more community-based. Okay? It was a community of people that lived together. Wealth was concentrated in a very, very narrow manner. People lived to survive the day, So, the aspirations of people was of a certain kind. This one and the industrial revolution that happened in 1760, actually it happened maybe about by 1740 or, around 1740s when it actually started, beginning the phase of industrial revolution, started creating more jobs. The wealth spread from 1% of the population to 10% of the population. The aspirations of people became different. The society moved from communities to families. Okay, every family started looking at, how can we grow our own wealth? As people accumulated wealth at that point of time, they required, social recognition for their, for the wealth that they've gained. Freemasonry was a stepping stone for them to gain that social recognition. Then look at what happened in the digital revolution. Digital revolution brought about a completely young generation up to the fore, suddenly, out of nowhere. This generation did not look at wealth the way the post-industrial revolution looked at. To them, buying a car meant nothing. To this audience, buying a house means nothing. To this audience, enjoying experiences means everything. So the society seemed to have changed. And did Freemasonry, while Freemasonry hasn't changed, as society has evolved, did the Freemasonry evolve? Certainly, yes. Look at it. The post-digital revolution, we evolved from a secret society into a society with secrets. We were until then, digital revolution, we were always behind the veil. When information flow started, being open and freely available, we started exposing ourselves. I mean, we started identifying ourselves in the social media. Today, District Grand Lodge has a website. United Grand Lodge of England has a website. There are Twitter feeds. We talk about Freemasonry more openly than what we used to do earlier. So certainly, while Freemasonry as an organization or its basic character or the tenets or the Asian landmarks or whatever you want to identify with hasn't changed one bit, the way it has evolved with the society, it has changed. Because ultimately, every society is a reflection, every organization is a reflection of the society. Okay, and therefore, any organization that does not reflect the aspirations of society will fail to connect. Probably is that the reason why we are not able to attract people? It's a question that we need to ask ourselves. Is there something that we need to do at this point of time, evolve ourselves in a certain manner to make us more appealing to a new generation of people Would that help us, would that bring more people into our society, into our organization? A question I think that we should all, apply our minds to. And I think it requires putting our heads together to find a solution and to find an answer. Maybe through this presentation, we probably can take a few steps in that direction. So I answered this question earlier. So why is enjoyable so important? Because it's the only sure reason for a person to come back for the next meeting. If a person has enjoyed this meeting, today's meeting, he will certainly come back the next meeting for more. And that's the reason why, and that's the most important thing for an organization. For if an organization, a social organization has to survive, it has to provide a very enjoyable experience to its members. That will make sure that they will come back again and again for more such experiences. Just let me know if I'm going a little too fast in case somebody has some point on this, okay? So what did I do? I spoke to a few people. I mean, this is what all marketing guys do, okay? I mean, all advertising guys do. Before you go for a presentation, you do a small dipstick study, primarily to impress the client that you have, applied your mind. And, I have tried to do a similar thing over here. I did speak to a few active brethren. I spoke to a few inactive brethren. And I also spoke to a few no longer brethren, I didn't have any structured survey, but I had an, fairly open discussion on, what Freemasonry meant to them. What was their experience when they came for a lodge meeting? Okay. And I didn't ask them why they joined Freemasonry, but I was primarily focusing on how did they feel about attending a meeting? What is the experience they carried back? Okay. What was the impression that they had on that? So here are a few things. I mean, so the inactive and the no longer, brethren, their impressions were, number one, nobody said it is boring. Okay. And very importantly, I must tell you that nobody said they don't like Freemasonry. Everybody seemed to say that, look, I mean, we are impressed with Freemasonry. I mean, it's something that we want. It's something that we would like to be part of. But many of them did say that, look, my lodge experience was that it was very uninvolving for me. Now, I must word of caution over here. I did not speak to a single inactive or no longer brethren from our lodge. Okay. I made it a point to speak to as many people whom I could speak to who were not part of a lodge and therefore, would not be cautious about answering my questions. Okay. So they felt that, one of the most important thing, their experience was, their impression was that, look, this whole lodge meeting was very uninvolving. I mean, I was there, I was sitting there. All right. Many of them felt that, look, seems to be an organization which is run by seniors. And, we have nothing to do with it. I mean, they're always talking. They're always, their line of thought, their thinking seems to be dominating every time. I mean, we're just part of it, right? Somebody else said, we're just going through the motions. Okay. I mean, we sit there and then we go have a drink. In fact, one of them probably humorously said that, sometimes they just open and close. I'm very happy because we can have a drink quickly, eat food, and that, when I get back home, I don't have to listen to a Masonic lecture once again. So, he felt that, there was nothing that he was doing. There was no depth in it. He felt there was no depth in any of the thinking that was there or anything that was being spoken. He said that, this organization, there was some couple of others who said that, look, I mean, this organization talks about charity, thing, but I can't see any charity in any meeting that I attended. Okay. I mean, so, I mean, there was nothing that was, that he could identify himself with, I mean, as charity. And he also felt, some of them did say that, look, this whole thing is, there are groups inside. Okay. This actually was talked about another lodge within Bombay. He said, I see so many groups and each group is trying to, pull the other. And, therefore, I mean, I don't know. I didn't know what I was doing there, So I've just captured a few, a few highlights of some of the things that they said. So my own take on this is that were they disenchanted with Freemasonry? Certainly not. No. But were they disappointed? I think so. Maybe they didn't see any connect. I mean, I think the most important thing is those guys, I mean, the guys who were inactive or no longer, brethren, did not see a connect with the organization they joined. And I don't think the organization made an attempt to create that connect either. Okay. The organization believed in doing what they were doing. And the organization kept on doing what they did, and they tried to improve what they were doing. Okay. But in whatever they did, I don't think there was a connect between the organization and this set of people. Probably the reason why, there are so many exits from some of these lodges. So I also spoke to a couple of, active brethren, but my talking to them was only about, I had a few premises. I mean, I have a few premises in this presentation as we go along, I'm going to share. So I wanted to validate a few of them. Yes, I mean, thankfully they were validated. And I think garnishing is possible and welcome too, What I mean by garnishing is that, look, I mean, we have a pretty impressive dish as it is, right? But how do you make the dish, any dish more attractive? By garnishing, by adding some, adding some elements into that which make it look more attractive. And I think our Freemasonry requires that at this point of time. A variety of experiences that we can give to an external person, to an existing brother, or to a prospect, to make this organization or this experience in Freemasonry more enjoyable. So here is a forewarning. This presentation is not based on any in-depth study. Okay, so my apologies on that. I said that upfront. I would like every one of you to look at this more like a fireside chat that that we have. I mean, most fireside chats set your mind thinking in some direction, and I hope that this presentation can do that for you. Another warning. Be warned, the implementation of any of the following ideas would lead to uncontrollable delight and enjoyment. And even the act of contemplation may trigger irresistible desire to implement. So, caution. Now, let's look at ways we can get the evening to be more interesting and enjoyable. So, the first thing is, how would it be if some drama and costumes were added to the rituals? I was, viewing one of those videos recently, and there was this, the movement, ancient and accepted Scottish Rite in the northern part of USA, in Washington. There, when that order evolved over a period of time, the kind of costumes that they created is in a museum there, and it still is used in the rituals. So beautiful, so attractive. I mean, if you're going to have a ritual meeting, yes, we need to wear our apron, we need to wear our badge, but I mean, a little more drama, a little more costumes added to it to make it more, more realistic, more like a drama. I mean, I think it's possible. I mean, if you do that, I think it will create a lot more interest in the very ritual. I'm not at this point trying to say that, look, I mean, we don't being word perfect is not important, or not. I mean, not following the exact ritual is not what I'm suggesting. All that I'm saying is, while we do what we're doing, okay, some element of interest can be added to the rituals to make it more interesting, can make it more appealing. When you do something like that, which is not done in any other lodge, I mean, there is a certain amount of expectation. There are people who will like that, and that kind of people will get more attracted to your lodge, and that becomes a selling point for this organization to even newcomers to come and say that, look, come and experience a different kind of an experience within our lodge. I mean, this is not something that you'll get anywhere else. So this is one thought. Another thought. This is something that we've been doing until now. Why can't we be known as a lodge that does deep research in Masonic thought and beliefs? Look at the presentation John did. I mean, look at the presentation Manoj did. There was some very deep thinking in those presentations. Now, maybe, I mean, maybe that's a way to go, or maybe that's another spice that we want to add into the, into a dish. Keep doing it, and maybe publish it, internationally in so many forums that are available, right? And maybe that creates an interest for people. There are lots of people who will be interested, who will be wanting to know what, in the esoteric side of masonry, and maybe that's a good way to, good direction to go. Or how would it be if we provide the best, dining experience that a lodge can give? Maybe, I mean, maybe we are a lodge that likes experimental cuisine, right? Or what happens if we have a, the day, just imagine, there is a new member coming in. At the banquet table, he's given a box which is his cutlery, right? And the cutlery is monogrammed, and it's individualized, right? I mean, every meeting he gets that set of cutlery that he has. It has silver spoons, it has ceramic plates, it has the whole lot, everywhere with his initials, right? I mean, that itself, that simple act can create a great expectation. Or maybe, I mean, there's a lodge that does, a 5-course dinner each time. Okay. So, I mean, but when you try to do something like this, a lot of thought has to go into, creating that experience. You can't decide on the day of the meeting, okay, what we're going to eat. I mean, a certain amount of planning needs to go in right through the month for the next meeting to make sure that, that experience is given to the member of the lodge. So this is another direction that we can move forward into. Or would it be known as a lodge that appreciates fine spirits? Maybe our meetings have only the best in whiskey or the best in wine at the banquet. Maybe I mean, it's another way to look at it, right? So there is something that, I mean, this is also something which is very simple to do, easy to do, but I think it will also create a very fine expectation among people. Or would it be interesting if we have if we invited a guest each time to talk on subjects as varied as climate change or winning strategies in modern football? I mean, it's an eye opener. These are topics that we know nothing about, or maybe we know little about. Okay, but what if there is an external person who comes in each time, okay, who's an expert in that area, and comes and talks to us? I mean, it opens up our own mind. We get to learn more. I mean, this is something that could be interesting to people. Or what if we indulged in, let's say, half an hour of music or a quiz between the meeting and the banquet? Quite possible. I mean, any kind of music. I mean, maybe we are as a group, we want, let us say, I mean, we'll call we can call an, live music performance if need be, or it can be music from our own brethren. But let's say, I mean, it not just be music. It can be a game. It can be anything. But let's say some kind of half an hour of activity that the brethren can be involved in between the meeting and the banquet. Or what if the lodge became a foodie lodge, and and we have a banquet at a different fine dine restaurant each time? I mean, it's not something that we have not done. We've been to PVM, we've been to other restaurants. We've had we've had dinner there instead of having it at the lodge. Maybe this is, and we can make a lodge that explores food. I mean, each time we go to a new place, we explore new types of cuisine, new types of food. It's possible. Or what if this lodge was culturally inclined and say that, I mean, this lodge at least once a quarter will attend a live concert as a group, or a live drama as a group, or any kind of cultural activity as a group. Maybe along with the families, not just as brethren. It's a possibility. Or maybe, I mean, by culturally inclined, we could even be sports inclined. Why can't we, as a group, attend attend some live matches? Could be a football match, could be a cricket match, could be a golf, could be anything. Or why not? I mean, make sure that, look, at least once a month we all get together and hire a cricket ground and play an hour of cricket. Because all this will lead to not only, will it attract people who want to be part of such a group, it can also increase bonding among our own brethren. Or being socially inclined by taking up a, non-political social cause. I mean, I had suggested some time back about taking up the cause of first-time juvenile offenders. I mean, somewhere we lost the thread on that. I mean, we could take up the case of a girl child, there are so many other social causes that as a lodge we can take up. I mean, it doesn't cost us anything. It just costs us a little bit of time. We can do a bit of study. We can post articles on that. We can get blogs written on that. We can raise consciousness on a social cause. It's not difficult to do, right? But that can help. You know, it can help pushing that cause. Maybe we can bring about a change within the society. I mean, that's something that we could be happy about. Or, you know, by demonstrating deep empathy. Maybe, you know what, if Tata Hospital has been asking people to come and spend half an hour with with many patients. Many patients are lonely. You know, the families have given up on them. You know, half an hour of our time with those people can cheer them up and give ourselves also a lot of joy. Maybe we are a kind of lodge that does that. By just cancer ward, we can go and spend time with blind people. We can spend time with with physically handicapped people. We can go and spend some time with orphans. We can go spend some time with whoever else. But half an hour of a time, 1 hour of a time as a group, if we go and if we were to do it, I think it'll not only are we showing empathy, we are also showing ourselves as a group of people with deep empathy, and there are people outside who will want to be part of us because we are a group like that. I mean, that is what is going to bind them to us and increase our own membership. Or for the love of history, make an annual trip to such a place. Let us say, one trip you make to Aurangabad in a year, or one trip to Hampi, or one trip to, maybe, any place of historical interest. And, spend some time there, understand the history of that place, look at the history of the place of that place over a period of 300 years or 500 years, have a meeting, have a physical Freemasonry meeting there while we are there. And also, and in that meeting, you could discuss about the history of that place, what it went through. I mean, if history is something that holds our interest, maybe something like that can help. Or we're just a fun lodge that we like visiting places. Maybe once a year or once every 6 months, we all travel together to a destination, enjoy the destination, at the same time have a lodge meeting there. I mean, we've been having, some of the brethren here might remember, we all went to Lonavala, we were at Sean's place. We had a meeting on the terrace. I mean, we had a fun time, right? I mean, the same thing can be done anywhere. I mean, we can go to Goa and do that. I mean, we can go to Aurangabad and do that. I mean, we can go to Hampi and do that, right? I mean, it's open. So something like that can also create a certain amount of bonding. It can attract people who look for that kind of an, who look for that kind of an experience. So these are some suggestions. I mean, there are more that can come, So there can be many disagreements to what I've suggested, but I would consider myself successful if I have tickled your imagination in some way, right? So let's look at what is the need of the hour. The need of the hour is to, we need to increase the involvement of brethren and lodge activity. Right? I mean, it's woefully low at this point of time. We need to increase bonding among brethren. Again, it's something that is not happening at all. I mean, we are as a group, but how much of bonding is actually happening? We need to attract new brethren. We need to retain new brethren. I do, believe that, some of these suggestions can help in doing that. God help me if it's possible. There is no, in all that I have said, there is no one interest that fits all, But we must, as a Lord, try and discover from among ourselves what are those things that are of interest to us, okay? Then get moving on some of those things. It will increase bonding, okay? It will also attract like-minded people into our lodge. At this point of time, this is how I feel. I should just bury my head in the sand because I don't know what kind of reactions I can expect from, from all of you. Some of you, I mean, I don't know if any of those things that I've said has made any sense. I hope it has, right? But at this point of time, this is how I feel. Thank you. My presentation is very short. All right. I was hoping actually that we can, get to discuss a few of these things. Maybe some of us may have a few ideas to share as well. So I'm going to now, stop sharing my screen, okay, and get into a discussion mode here. Thank you.
Worshipful Master, if I may.
Thanks a
Worshipful
lot,
Master.
worshipful brother. Thanks a lot. Just hold on, worshipful brother Bimal. I think it was quite thought-provoking, worshipful brother Vishwa. I think this probably applies to all the lodges, not just in our district or for us in particular. But I think an introspect, we all need to introspect. I think what's going right, what's going wrong, and I think today what I notice is that I'm like you, I'm also pretty active down south too. So I have seen that happening even the lodges there. I think, and even if I look at the various Masonic groups which we have all sort of subscribed to or partnering, I think this is a constant debate everywhere, not just in India or not just in West or not just in Lord Silvery Dawn. Very, very pertinent, very, very thought provoking. I think we really need to look at Masonry now, how we can reinvent ourselves and make it more exciting. So thanks a lot for that, worshipful brother Vishwa. And as you said, I think this is a topic which probably will open up and we can hear the thoughts of everyone. So let's start off. I think worshipful brother Bimal is very eager to start off. Over to you, brother Bimal.
Thank you, Worshipful Master. Excellent presentation, very thought-provoking, very interesting. And what I say is, let us apply this to our lodge and ourselves. Let us talk about what we are actually doing, what we could and should be doing in the future. Because some time ago, I had discussed this either with the Worshipful Master or with very Worshipful Brother. A film that I saw about the third degree. It's beautiful. It was actually enacted there. So it was so interesting. And we had said, why don't we try and bring this into the lodge? And I had got a very positive and a strong response. And our lodge, I'm sure about this, 100%. We fit into most of these things and we can take up most of them at maybe every meeting or every alternate meeting or every now and then and make things exciting and interesting. Thank you, Worshipful Master.
Thank you, Brother Bimal, for the compliment. Yeah.
No, I think, worshipful brother Bimal, I think with this enactment, I think, which even you alluded as well as worshipful brother Vishwa alluded, I think the whole thing about Masonry is about the drama. And I think, yes, if we can make it interesting, I'm sure it will go a long way. I think for me, I always will remember my initiation ceremony and the way it was done. And it has left me a lifelong impression. And I'm sure that's true for most of us. The floor is open, brethren. I think it's an open forum.
Worshipful Master, can I just add a
Please,
few
brother
points?
John, please go ahead.
Okay, so thank you. I wanted to speak primarily because I think Worshipful Brother Vishwa has brought in, I think, the most important and pertinent point today. And this is actually what we should be discussing. And I had the same thought in my mind for quite a long time. So I just wanted to not to congratulate Vishwa, but actually I wanted to thank him for bringing this up because this is something that we should be discussing. So a few points that I want to talk about. One, whether it is Masonry or some other group. Okay, what is the basics? What is the basic point that first of all, there should be a feeling of belonging. We should feel that we are part of the same tribe. Okay, and we should be able to relate to whatever is happening there. If that is not there, whether it is Masonry or some other social group, people will not stick to it. Now, how will we make that happen? That's the most fundamental thing. Second thing, whenever we are getting into a hierarchical organization, okay, if it is an organizational structure, then we will stick to that because that's our bread and butter. We have to earn our living. But when we are coming into a social organization, why should we be part of an organization which is intimidating for someone who is new? Many a times, I have seen this not just, I'm not specifically talking about our lodge, but I've seen this in other lodges as well. The seniors feel that it is their right to intimidate juniors. Okay, it could be, it could be for a genuine reason, it could be for some other reason, and whatever reason is. But then look at it this way: we are all adults, we are all of a certain age. Why should we, budge to such intimidations? Okay, and this is one major problem that I see with third thing. Vishwa talked about depth. Depth is a problem, and many a times I am born and brought up in a Christian family, having learned in Sunday school, um, gone to the church, and now I don't even go there. I don't follow many of these things, whatever they are doing, because I know the shallowness of many of these things. Now, I many a times I think whatever we are saying is basically Christianity in disguise and Freemasonry. This is my genuine feeling. Many a times when I see that, I think this is the same thing. I don't see anything more, deep in whatever we are saying. Probably, if you cannot communicate what is there in it actually, people will lose interest. For some people, it could be a little new or probably a little fresh, but for many people, it may not be. Now, when we talk about all these big things, what charity are we doing? Do we really do something? At the end of the day, we come there, we do some rituals, we drink, we eat, and we go home. That's what we are doing. So let's actually practice what we are talking at the end of the day. One more thing, if you really see the history of Freemasonry, who were the people who were actually Freemasons? Okay, they were not the normal people. They were the intellectuals. They were the artists. They were the scientists who were not actually following the herd. Okay, who could actually make a difference to this world? And do we need people who just follow the herd, who has that herd mentality in this? Even if when we are taking a new candidate, what are we looking for? Are we looking for their social status, or are we looking for someone who can bring some value to the whole society? What type of people do we need in the society? We need to look at all this. I mean, otherwise it will be just a snobbish society who think that they are something. At the end of the day, no one cares. When even if we are something, we'll have some, poor people with a lot of money in the group. And if that's what we want, then we'll continue like this. But I think I'm very happy that we should be a group of people with fine tastes. Okay, so Vishwa talked about having a concert, having that, attending many, this thing. So it's not about money. It's developing the fine taste, about everything in life. Now, also, I think many a times he also talked about, having, program in a dramatic manner and all. The only thing is, if we are currently we have our meetings on a weekday, so doing something on a weekday will be extremely tough. If we can even think of changing the day to another, another weekend, people will be a little more relaxed. We should have more number of meetings. We should have more number of, other, opportunities to connect with each other. Then definitely there'll be a connect. There'll be a, people to people connect, and we will definitely enjoy these meetings much more. It is not about Freemasonry. It's more about what we talk and what we do. If you are completely fixated on the rituals and making it word by perfect, and if that's what our whole aim is, then I don't know why someone should be interested. Especially the new generation will not be interested. They are much more smarter than us. This is what I wanted to say. So once again, thank you, Vishwa. I think you have brought in a very, very important point.
Yeah, John, Brethren, I just need to react. Allow me to react to what John said. Only on one point of what John said, about hierarchical organization. This is as a matter of advice or matter of information to all the brethren in this group. We should not be addressing outside the Lord. We should not be addressing each other as very worshipful or worshipful. Okay, very worshipful and worshipful, etc., is only inside the lodge. Outside the lodge, we are all supposed to be addressing each other only as brother, because we are all on the same, whether it is Percy or whether it is Venkat or whether it is me or whether it is Ankit, we are all brothers on the same level. So, that itself will break the hierarchical organization that we are. The post that we hold within a lodge is purely for administration purpose. Otherwise, all of us are on the same level, dealing with each other equally. That's because that's what Freemasonry is all about. Thank you, John. I mean, that was just a reaction to what you said.
Sure.
So you should not be addressing me as worshipful brother. I mean, I'm Brother Vishwa, you're Brother John.
Yeah. And add to it, even Brother Vishwa, even within the Lord, all the designations don't matter, because it's finally the worshipful master which rules. Yeah. So, and that is also an administrative thing, because he is there, It could be anyone else who's the master, but he is ruling that lodge. It is just like the chairman of a board running the board meeting for that particular day. So he
Sure.
gets, and I think very right. But I think Brother John has a point there, because we are seen as an hierarchical organization, Worship Brother Vishwa. And I think that's probably something which we will need to sort of break. And, if finally when you realize, in the whole structure, it's finally the lodge which is the most important. Even if you look at from the top-down approach of a UGLE, it is not UGLE which is important or the district which is important. It is the lodge which is most important. And lodge is what? Lodge is a subset. It's a private lodge consisting of all brethren who come and meet. Frankly, if we can make an enjoyable experience there, it will go upwards. The experience everywhere will go upwards. Even UGLE, I'm seeing snaps of, brethren with their post enjoying a drink, which was unheard of probably 10 years back. Okay, so Brother John, I think very, very valid. I think some of the points which you have brought. I think we have to also, as a lodge, look what we are trying to do beyond the lodge meetings. Have we actually socially bonded? And probably we were doing it years back, but at least in the last 4 or 5 years, we have sort of lost that out, and that connect is not there anymore. The only connect what we used to have in the last 4 or 5 years was that we used to come on first Thursday of every month and meet. And I think that's something which I think all of us collectively need to change. And frankly, I
Yeah.
see a lot what, say, a worshipful brother Niranjan does. I think he's busy right now, but he can share some things, about what he does, and as part of masonry, he organizes blood donation camps. Okay, they have a lot of fun time outside. There are 4 or 5 brethren. They always meet over weekends or months. Some month they meet. They go to Lonavala. They go to outskirts of Bombay. Work with the villagers there. I think to me, all that is also part of masonry, and that's something which probably you're missing out. We can sort of learn. Vashu brother Niranjan, your thoughts?
Thank you, Oshival Master. Actually, Brother Vishwa has brought in some very important topics, which I agree with him. And regarding this charity and whatever you said regarding me, actually, I didn't have a chance to, interact in this lodge, our outdoor meetings or whatever charity we do. But if I get a chance, once this pandemic is over, I'm absolutely there for you guys. You can experience something very nice, which I have done in Irish Lodge. I would like to take it forward in this English. So you people can come out with me and see what is happening outside, in the villages. And really, because in Irish, even our provincial Grand Master came with us. He liked it very much. Whatever we do outside, we go to all Adivasi villages, schizophrenic patients I've visited, blood donation drive, and whatever I can do in my this thing limit, I'm always there for you. Once the lodge starts functioning, we'll do it. That's my promise, and I'll take it forward. Thank you, Oshival brother. Sorry, brother Vishwa. It was very good. You have taken a lot of pain, and it was very nice to hear all this, whatever you mentioned. I agree to you, and we'll all take it forward and be together. And our lodge is, I told you as it is, our lodge is doing very well. So I'm very much impressed. So let's see in future. I'm there for you guys. It will be a different experience for you guys. Thank you so much, Vashwa.
Thanks, Worshipful Brother Niranjan. And I think Worshipful Brother Vishwa it's not just his thoughts which he put in. He also has interviewed people. He's interacted with several Masons over the years. And I think it was a culmination of a lot of his discussions with various set of peoples, like what he said in the presentation. Worshipful Brother Rumi Khan, sir, your thoughts?
Yeah, it was an excellent presentation by Brother Vishwa. I also agree to most of the points which he has mentioned. What lodges require to do is have a little more of charity projects where all the brethren could be involved. And as Niranjan also mentioned, we can go to the villages and help the poor and do whatever we can according to our limits and capacity. Also, I would recommend if you can have a family get together bi-monthly or quarterly, that would also bring in
Right, right.
togetherness into a group of masons, and it will be very enjoyable. In one of the Scottish lodges, we used to have ladies night every meeting, though all the ladies couldn't make it every time, but a few attended, and it was very enjoyable. You could have some games before the dinner, something like that, like a housey. We used to have also this running around the what musical chairs. So brethren used to enjoy. It is not that all young masons are there. Even old ones, they also want to enjoy. But only thing, we have to form a group where we can take their thoughts together and have a enjoyable and enjoy Freemasonry. Thank you, brother. Worshipful Master.
Uh,
Thank you, Brother Rumi.
Virtual Master, can I interrupt at this stage?
Please, please.
Just taking it where Brother Rumi has said, I had gone to, when I went to Nagpur, I discovered that the lords there, okay, also has bring their wives for every meeting. What happens is when the brethren go to the temple in the first floor to hold their meeting, the wives conduct a similar meeting, okay, downstairs. All right. And even among the wives, they have, who's the master, who's the, there's some offices given. And there is a quasi-official meeting of the wives that happen. Very interesting. I mean, although it's not co-masonry, okay, in any form, it's just that the wives also seem to have fun out of Freemasonry as much as the husbands have had.
Very true, Vachu Brother Vishwa. I think, again, sorry, I have to take an example of down south, at least Trivandrum, where I belong to. I noticed that there are a lot of family events which they do. Like, for example, Onam, Vishu, they all gather together, and at least during pre-COVID days, almost once in 2 months, there used to be a family outing. So the families know each other well. The families understand when there is a Masonic meeting, and the families also bond together on other occasions. They work together on a lot of social causes together. So it is like a extended family. So they all know each other, they know their kids, etc. Of course, it's a smaller city, they are able to do that. I think most smaller cities, probably like a Nagpur, Pune, or a Trivandrum, would be able to do that. Something which is probably missing out in the bigger cities. Probably we can imbibe some of them.
Worshipful Master.
Yes, Bimal.
You have some sort of idea about services background. So over there, the basic is the army, because you need feet on the ground. And in the army, the basic tenet is Paltan ki izzat. Now, it starts at this level and then it flows up. You cannot be expecting the senior hierarchy to be teaching you or telling you to what to do, to hold your hand and guide you through. It has to start from the bottom. And in this case, the Paltan is the lodge. The lodge has to start things moving. And I quite like what you're eating. Next time I come, maybe you can serve it to me.
Absolutely.
So we have to start at the lodge level, which is what Brother Vishwa has been talking about in his excellent presentation today. We have to start at the lodge level. And like I said, let's list what we are doing and let's list what we can do. So for the future, we have a setup. All right, this is the plan. We've done this, let's go for this. And maybe that'll make it interesting for everybody. And this thing about having a chat or a talk either after the lodge meeting or during the lodge meeting or at the banquet table or whatever, about any topic, any serious topic, which may or may not be of interest to others. May I give the guy 10-15 minutes, let him say what he wants to. You can tell us about banking, Vishwa can tell us about advertising, that sort of thing. would be very, very interesting. So, like I said, basically it has to start at the lodge level. Thank you, Master.
Thanks, Brother Vimal. Noted. I would request if Worshipful Brother Peter, a person whom I immensely respect, he could share his thoughts.
Give me a minute. Okay. Yeah. Firstly, Brother Vishwa Mohan, excellent presentation. Now, what I'm going to say may kick me out of the lodge. But that's okay. I have to say it, I say it. I have been here in this lodge for a very long time. And until a certain time, my attendance was almost 100%. Then came a time when I changed jobs and I joined another company where I just couldn't take leave, or for that matter, even if I had nothing to do, I had to wait there until 6 o'clock. So coming to the lodge took a big break. I don't know for how many years, for a fair amount of years. Then I retired. I restarted. Now, during those X number of years that I wasn't there, well, nobody bothered. Nobody bothered, except Ruben used to call me. What is the status? When you come back after a very long time, everybody looks at you with big eyes. So this is the guy who comes when he wants to come and is absent most of the time. And then just the looks that you get, or rather, let me clear it, the looks that I got, like, it says, okay, you come today. So how long will it be that you'll come? I mean, that sort of feeling you got. And on the scale of 1 to 5, if you ask me, 1 was a small feeling and 5 was a very large feeling, I would put it at 6. So whenever the topic came, this guy, leave him alone, was shayad aayega kya nahi aayega, Ram bharosa hai. Nobody asked why you are not coming. Nobody asked why you are not coming. But you are branded irregular guy. And I have seen this happening very often, and guys leaving just because of this. I could take names, but I won't. People have left when they get that look of yours. Oh, here come. It is basically a thorn in the side or pain in the backside, whatever you may call it. But it is there. And when you get it, nobody would like to be in a place where he is unwanted or when he's singled out. Nobody. I stuck around. In fact, I made up my mind to give up. Had it not been for somebody who said, hang on. Hang on. That's it. That's I have to say, which regarding my own experience. Second, charity. What charity we do? Do we give at least 0.5% of what we earn? Or 1/4% of what we earn? We make big plans. One day you go out with your family for at a good restaurant. How much you spend? 10K minimum? There it is. And how much comes to the lodge? Peanuts. Sometimes I have even thought of it and spoken about it to somebody in the lodge. Okay, today's banquet bill I'm paying, and whatever the bill was supposed to be, give it to charity. I'll foot the bill. Whatever the banquet costs, instead of it going to the caterer, I would pay the caterer and send that money to charity. Whatever charity you want to do, charity, do it. Even if it is helping that Kundan has got his son, or whatever, whosoever it may be. But nah, don't. That's me. Enough. Nothing more.
Worshipful Master.
As of now. Sorry, Vimal.
Yeah,
Peter,
pertinent points. 1 minute, brother Bimal. Pertinent points, I think, Brother Peter. I think learning for me in this whole COVID situation, as well as me being a master, was one, that are we really getting connected to our brethren? Okay, we are not.
Master, 1 minute, 1 minute.
Can I, Brother Bimal, let me complete, please.
Absent brethren's toast.
Yeah, we will do that. We will do that. We'll do that. There's no problem if you delay it by 5 minutes. No problem. It's an important topic. We'll do that. So I think, Brother Peter, I think we all have sort of reviewed it. Be it our, when our brother Vijay Iyengar was unwell, what is it that we as a lodge did? Or whenever any other brethren who are unwell, whether we have reached out, any brethren who has not been coming to the lodge, how, who has been in touch, etc. I think there's a lot to be done in that front. Have we learned? I think we are learning. I can't say that we are fully learned, but I think for me personally, I have learned my lesson in this COVID times that we need to stay connected with each one. At least during my time, I can say that I have tried to reach out. I had requested a few of the senior brethren to reach out to, all. We have tried our best, but is it sufficient? Answer is no. Is it important? Absolutely. Okay, in good times, everybody is there with us. If I'm doing well, I think I can have 100 followers, which I can see nowadays. I have a lot of followers. Okay, but during my bad times, when I went through bad times, I didn't see a single one. So absolutely point taken. I think that's something which we as a lodge need to learn. And I think we all as a lodge have taken that into account. I have had serious discussions with Brother Bimal on this topic, Brother Venkat, Brother Vishwa. All of us have had these discussions. I think we need to rework on it. Very, very pertinent point. Sorry, I took that time, Brother Bimal. I think we can have a toast now.
Upstanding brethren.
Please charge your columns and take the toast, Brother Bimal.
I figure they should have charged their columns by now. Upstanding brethren, we will take a toast to remember our brethren. They are our brethren, whether they are with us today or not. Whatever it is they are doing, some of them are very, very importantly employed in the health industry and the protection industry with the police and the doctors and everything. So we remember them and we say, we're thinking of you when we take this toast to your health. Absent brethren.
To all the absent brethren.
All the absent brethren.
Thanks,
The
brother.
absent brethren.
Thank you, Worshipful Master. You were saying, please continue.
Before we continue, I think, I know some of you might drop off. So before that.
No, not me. I'm not going.
Great.
I have always wanted to bring this up.
Yeah, thanks. So, but
I have spoken just half of what I have to speak.
no, we would like to hear more from you, Brother Peter, because, I have immense all the senior brethren, I think I have immense love and affection. Love to hear all of you, whatever you have to say, and we'll definitely ensure that we will try to implement most of them. But just a thought which I thought I will share, a discussion which took place in the permanent committee. Two things which we discussed. One was, when should we reopen the lodge? Okay, I think the majority brethren were of the view that we will wait and see how the pandemic situation sort of unveils itself. As of now, I think the decision is that we will not open. We will wait. Two things again here. I think even the Freemason Joint Hall Committee is coming out with the standard operating procedures, which soon it should come out, which our brother secretary will then advise us. But at this point in time, definitely I can say with full confidence that our December meeting, which is on the first week of December, is not going to take place. We will review the situation in the permanent committee in mid-December to take a view whether we can have the meeting in January or not. My personal interest is that we should try and meet, even if a smaller gathering can come in with all the safety precautions which we could do, at least, and also discuss, how we can get the newer brethren who are waiting in the wings, how we can get them initiated, etc. Now, the second more important thing which was discussed in the permanent committee was what is going to happen in the next year, considering that we have had only one formal meeting this year, which was in the month of I think March, after which the lockdown started. I think we all discussed that, and I think the permanent committee, I had also voiced my opinion, is very clear that there is going to be no change. We are going to have the normal, whatever the protocol, what Lord Silvery Dawn always has, of electing the senior warden as the next master, is what we have all sort of decided. And in that, the permanent committee has also validated our request, and my personal request also. So we, as permanent committee, we are making a recommendation to the open lodge whenever the elections takes place, that we will be proposing Brother John as the next master for the lodge. Definitely, as I said, I will be actively involved. No, I think all of you know me well. It's not that I will run away from anything. I will be there always, and I will be as vocal as ever, as I have been in the past. But these are two important things which I thought I should share with all the brethren. And I would also like to congratulate Brother John for the confidence what the permanent committee has in him, and we are all looking forward for his leadership in next year, in 2021. Yeah. Now coming back, I think again, I think what the topic which our worshipful brother Vishwa has taken, as I said, it is very topical with most lodges, more so with us. But I think one of the points which even worshipful brother Vishwa would agree, I think we have had very less resignations. We have sort of activated ourselves. I think when I speak to very worshipful brother Venkat, and I know the history of the lodge, what it used to be 15 years back and what is it now, I think we are now seen as a vibrant lodge. Even if the district sort of now categorizes lodges into strong and weak lodge, definitely we will be seen as a strong lodge. And I think that is what we have all collectively brought in. But having said that, I don't think we should live on its laurels, but we should sort of ponder on the points which I think some of the brethren have made today. I think very, very important points which worshipful brother Peter, brother John, etc. have made. Can I request brother Abel if he could share his thoughts?
He just said he's going.
Oh,
Master, he just left.
My apologies. I didn't see that. Any other brother? Brother Ankit?
Worshipful Master, first
Voice is breaking.
of all, I would
Ankit has a bad internet connection.
this person short and but
Can't hear you, brother.
yeah,
Ankit.
I was saying that British has been short and sweet, and it has been to the point.
Your internet connection won't allow you better. So please do.
No, it won't. It won't. It won't. I guess I'll have to hear. So, can you hear me now? Am I audible now?
Yeah,
Yes.
you are audible.
Okay,
Which audio video?
Great. So I'll switch my video. Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that the presentation has been short and sweet and simple, but it has been to the point. More so, I like the fact that this presentation has raised more questions than have been answered. I believe that a few points that Brother John Matthew made were absolutely to the point, as well as Worshipful Brother Peter Lobo has made a few very strong points here. I will say that this is something that has been at me since a long time, and that is what I tried to do. I always wondered, does anybody here know how many brothers I have? Does anybody here know how many sisters Brother Abel has? Does
Do
anybody
you?
know?
Do you?
Can you hear me?
Brother,
I said, do
Brother,
you?
let him continue now, please. Don't interrupt. Let him speak. Let him complete, then you can speak.
Yes. So thank you, Worshipful Master. So my point is, I have the feeling that instead of saying that we get new people in, I think we should first cherish the people that we have around us. There is perhaps for a newcomer like me, I know very less about everybody else. So I try my level best to try to figure out more things about why a person reacts in a certain manner, what makes him tick basically, what does he like, what does he dislike. Uh, these are the things that we should know first. I should know my brother. I have a real brother. I have a brother who's a blood brother. So I know what he would like to eat for dinner. I know what he would uh, like to watch today. So by and large, that is what we should know about each other as brothers. How will that come about? Is when we know each other better. So rather than getting new people in, I think we should cherish the people that we have. And uh, yeah, so this is one point that I wanted to make, and I think we're doing pretty well in my mostly inexperienced opinion. I love the fact that that one of the first meetings I came in, charity was defined a little differently by especially Brother Vishwa Mohan. He mentioned that there are some juvenile people, juvenile criminals that we can look to spend an hour with weekly, or uh, try to speak to them and try to understand why they do, why they've done what they've done, and try to get them back to society in a way. That was one thing that I felt was different, in the sense that I don't believe that throwing money at a problem solves the problem. You have to get down, you have to get dirty, and you have to solve that problem. And I think this was one of the things that that I really look forward to. And it was one of the first meetings that I attended. So I thought that this is what we'll do here, and with Brother Niranjan coming in, I thought that this is something that we'll definitely carry on with, and I really look forward to that.
Thanks, Brother
Thank you,
Ankit.
Worshipful Master.
Brother Sushil?
I think this was, I mentioned on the group that this was one of the best presentations that I have seen, because this is beyond everything else that we're learning or trying to learn. This is something which should bind us. And this was, I think, long due. What Brother John said and immediate rejoinder by Brother Vishwa, I think these were the most inclusive words that I have heard in a long time. And I use this word inclusive because I happen to be working on a new project with my client, which is on diversity and inclusion. And we are trying various ways to make this client more inclusive. So I've understood that, I mean, respect and acceptance of everyone as they are is the first thing for inclusion. And I think this debate that has sparked, I missed out on the part when Brother Peter had started speaking. But I realized one thing, that what sometimes I have experienced, he had also experienced many years back. I had another call, so I had to drop off this meeting and then join back. But I think this is, when we are sparked off this debate, this conversation, let us kind of be better than what we were yesterday. And how do we include new members? How do we introduce and induct them? How do we run it like any good company would want to do to its new people and its present people and bridging the gap between them is what we should all work towards. I think this conversation has rekindled a new hope in me that okay, we would become better sooner, and I wish that we all can contribute to that, and that's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Brother Sushil. I think very well summarized. I would now like to, our senior most brethren from our lodge and our Bhishma Pitama, very worshipful Brother Venkat. Sir, over to you.
Brother Venkat.
We are in official lodge meeting, so I can call you very worshipful brother.
No, you should not.
You should not.
We are not.
There was a debate on that.
We are not inside a temple.
But today I am the master.
Even then.
So good. We set some new protocols and we kind of follow them then.
Yeah, I think Brother Vishnu is right. Brother Venkat, over to you.
Yeah. So basically, there are many ways to go about it, but let me, before I come to the main point and the definition of what I think Vishwa said, is that our lodge has always been spiriting. We were one of the first lodges that did away with the jackets in Bombay. Okay, in the summer months. Only 4 months we wear the winter uniform, for example. Okay. We have gone to Lonavala and conducted lodge meetings in the terrace of Sean Suki. We have gone to Pune and conducted meetings. We have visited lodges in Lonavala, Dawn of Peace we have gone. When there are district meetings, we are one of the largest delegations, though we are a small lodge. Okay. We have done many things. We have done an open house, we have done square steps, and there are many things of the nature that Vishwa said that we have been doing as a lodge, and that is why the lodge is vibrant, and the lodge is even having a discussion like this. There are so many lodges that are not even having a Zoom meeting. Okay, they're even 4 brothers will not come and even discuss. Nobody even knows how to open a PowerPoint. I mean, forget come to a Zoom meeting. There are lodges in our district of that capability. Okay, but basically, Vishwa's presentation can be summarized into one word: form over function. Okay, so let me define this, because if some people don't accept it. One is the form, the way in which it is done, and the other is function, what it gets done. Okay, Freemasonry over the years, because of being monarchist or whatever it is, the way the organization culture has evolved, it has become more form oriented rather than function oriented. Okay, we talk about charity, which is form. We don't do charity, which is function. Okay, we talk about being on the level, but in the lodge, we wear a UGLE apron and strut around in front of the worship master. Okay, we talk about being active and being responsive and being this, but if a brother writes an email, nobody even replies. Correct? Over a period of time, what Peter said is, in other words, I'll put it, is that many people think that we don't do the things that we talk about doing. We talk about almoner, form. We don't do it. We have a chaplain, prayer, spirituality, but in function, how religious, how spiritual are we? Okay, we talk about communicating outside the happy and beneficial effects of belonging to the organization, so that anybody outside will know the benefits of being a member of the organization. I'm not exact words I'm not getting, but something like that. Okay, charge them to practice outside the laws, the happy and beneficial, correct, etc. How many of us practice outside? Okay, so the what Vishwa is hitting at is a very age-old problem of the organization structure and the culture of the organization is form over function. And Vishwa is making a call today, clarion call, that we should be more about function than about form. Now, when this kind of a conversation happens, many people think, oh, this guy is a rebel, he wants to throw everything out of the window. No, we should stick to what is the core to the organization, but we should not let that form wrap the functionality. We should not let form, subsume agility. We should not let form and orthodoxy make us calcified. Correct? We should, to use a phrase that I recently heard somewhere, we should be the progressive face of tradition. We should be, I'm again repeating for emphasis, we should be the progressive face of tradition. We should be tradition, but we should be progressive in that. We should evolve. But many people feel threatened because a lot of the seniority within the organization hierarchy, and this is happens in all. Okay, even if you go to Tata, this will be the same problem. If you go to Wipro, this will be the same problem. If you go to Glenmark, also this will be the same problem. Okay, a lot of the seniors get threatened by what the juniors want to do. That is why there are so many things within large organizations to promote entrepreneurship, business teams. Google has this thing of spending 5% of your time on entrepreneurial activities, side projects. Everybody has this problem. It is not unique to Freemason. This problem is universal, where human nature is involved. Those at the senior don't want to change anything because they feel they will get toppled. Okay, so what Vishwa has addressed is an age-old organizational issue. Happens in all organizations. My organization, which is 4 years old, 5 years old, is also dealing with such issues, where some people are 5 years old and don't want to change, and then the COVID is there, and it has changed. So 300 साल का organization में क्या बड़ा बात है, kind of thing. Okay, thank you, Vishwa.
Thanks, Brother Venkat.
Worshipful Master.
For all of us, I think in our respective organizations where we have worked, also we see the same challenges.
Yeah.
I see that challenge almost every day.
Worshipful Master.
As well as I see the challenge even in the associations where I'm, belonging to. I think probably if I think we'll have to imbibe a lot of things, and we have to hear to the ground realities, what is coming through. I think that's what I think Brother Vishwa has sort of elaborated. I think we need to sort of dwell into some.
Worshipful Master, if I may.
Brother Bimal, raise your hand. Bimal, raise your hand. There's a function.
Can you see me?
Brother Bimal, just give me a second, please.
Yeah. Please say that. So I know I'm waiting for you. I'll give you as long as you want. Please. My apologies.
Yeah.
Please let me know.
Thanks, Brother Bimal. So I think a very, very pertinent point. I think as an organizational leaders, I think we have all been organizational leaders. We have all been running our organizations at fairly senior levels. The same challenges what I see in my bank, where I am actually running a commercial organization and I'm heading, or I am running an industry body where it's very much similar to where we spend our time there trying to get things along. I think the same challenges we are trying to reinvent and trying to re-energize the place. But I think masonry holds a special place. I think some of the points which have come in are something which we need to deliberate as permanent committee to Brother Venkat, Brother Vishwa. I think some of the points which we have heard specifically from Brother Peter and from Brother Vijay in the past are some things which are close to my heart too. I think we need to reach out to our brethren, specifically when they are not attending meetings or they are going through their tough times. We should be there, seen together with them. I think that is what differentiates us from any other organization as Masons. If we can stand together for the brethren, I think that's first and foremost before we stand together for the society. If we can't do for our brethren, what will we do for society? I think that's a question which I always try to sort of challenge myself with. Quite thought-provoking. Brother Bimal, over to you.
Thank you, Brother Madha. Now, even if a guy attends all the meetings, has anybody ever asked him how he is? Every which way. It may not be 1, 2, 3 ways. It may be every which way. That is only one thing, as an aside after what you said. And again, at the cost of repetition, what I say, what I think and what I say is that this has to flow from the lodge upwards. It cannot come up downwards. So the lodge has to be proactive, not wait for something to happen and react, but look out for signs. And before something happens, act. Find out what's happening, see what's happening, talk to people. In general, let us try and become a lot more friendly than we actually are. We pretend to be very friendly, but with your hand on if I wasn't drunk, I would have said something else, but I am, so I shall say my heart. If your hand on your own heart, how many of us, how many of you can tell me, after all this that we've been talking about, that we are true Masons? Tell me that. Worshipful Master, thank you very much for indulging me.
Thanks. I think we are here to make ourselves better and better and better. I think we have never said that we are perfect human beings. I think there's a lot of learnings. We have heard everyone speak. We have seen what has happened, and I think to remain vibrant, not just for the Lord, not for just for district, not just for UGLE, but for Masonry in general. I think there are some things which we really need to sort of think about and sort of implement it also. I think hats off to Brother Vishwamohan for bringing this topic and giving it that relevance. And frankly, what I mentioned even in the chat group, it has been a provoking thing. We need to sort of relook at it. I can also see that Brother Rumi Khan has mentioned that you can appoint a Sikh visiting committee. Definitely yes, because we have an aging population. Okay, we cannot just rely on one person, either the master or the almoner, to do all the job. We are all masters, we are all almoners. We can all reach out. And I'm seeing some very, very good things, what our younger brethren have demonstrated. Brother Ankit and Brother Manoj and Brother Christabel demonstrated that, they went and met with people. I think they are not after titles there or something like that. I think we are all everything. We are masters, we are almoners, we are everything. I think when it comes to brotherhood, I think if we cannot serve our own brethren first, then I think we cannot serve the society at large. And that's something which we need to sort of ponder and we need to sort of revive. I'm very, very confident and I'm pretty positive. I think the Lord is in very, very good hands. We have, fantastic senior brethren who are guiding us, and we have the younger brethren who are, all capable to shoulder that responsibilities and take this forward. But I think we cannot take it for granted. A lot of thought-provoking things which Brother Vishwa has said, we need to sort of ponder about it at both the permanent committee as well as an open lodge and see how we can make this experience more enriching for all of us. Not just for us, then we take it forward to the next level, to the society at large.
Yeah.
Brethren, if there are any more points, happy to hear anyone else speak.
And then I want to make one last point after. If somebody else is there, then I will.
Yeah, so we'll try to shut in the next few minutes. If there is anybody else who would like to speak,
I want to say something. See, ideation is one thing. I said about form and function. Ideation is one thing which Vishwa has done and all that, but it is in the execution that the challenges come, and this is true for all organizations, not just the lodge or Silvery Dawn or anything. Okay, in execution there are challenges. Ultimately, it depends upon the drive of the person. A few people have to be driven to do it. They have to have a passion. There has to be a commitment. It is said that there is a difference between commitment and interest. And the business idiom is that on the breakfast table, the pig was committed while the chicken was interested. You know why? Because normally the English breakfast is bacon and eggs. And the pig has died to give you bacon. The chicken has not died, it has given you an egg. So the Pig was committed. वो तो साला मर गया breakfast के लिए. But the chicken was interested because they just gave something and it's still living. उसका कुछ गया नहीं. Correct. So there has to be this difference between commitment and interest. Everybody is interested, but how many people are committed? And that building the team, energizing the team, that is important. Unfortunately, in this organization and especially in Freemason, and it happens in our organization, promotions and ranks come because of time and seniority. They don't come because of merit. Very little is given because of merit. Everybody just goes through the carousel. And that is where, some years are good, some years are bad. What do you wish, Master?
Thanks, Brother Venkat. I think because it was Brother Vishwa's presentation, I will leave the last word with him.
Yeah, correct.
Thank you, Varshu Master, for helping me for allowing me to conclude today's meeting. My conclusions are like this. I did talk about two things, important things among many other things. One is about bonding, and the other is about creating experiences. I was pretty touched by what Brother Peter said. I was also touched by what Brother Ankit said. In reality, actually, somewhere we seem to be a group of people meeting, knowing each other, enjoying each other's company. But maybe, there is still a few more, we need to extend ourselves a little more to each other to create that bonding. I think this year to come, I would hope that, the Visual Master will create such opportunities where we bond more. I was particularly, intrigued to hear about the musical chair thing about, what the Rumi Khan said. Half an hour of interactive games, not just musical chair. There are so many party games that can happen with the interactive. Half an hour of such activity can also create, immense bonding amongst all of us. So there are ways and means that we can do it, and I think we should explore that. The second thing is about creating experiences. I think we have a great opportunity here to create experiences for people, and that could be a reason why the experiences can be the reason why people want to come and join us. So we should explore both these things, and with that, I'm hoping that this meeting can be concluded. Very valuable thoughts shared. I'm particularly happy about the way my presentation went and the reactions that it garnered. I hope, it sets us in a direction that enriches us and makes our own experience in Freemasonry more enjoyable. Thank you, and good night to all.
Thanks, Brother Vishwa. Fantastic presentations, as I think everybody has commented. You kept it simple, but it was hard-hitting. A lot of thoughts for us, and it was really thought-provoking. Thanks to Brother Venkat and all other participants. Special thanks I would like to, something which I would like to recognize here is to our District Secretary, Brother Rumi Khan. He has made it a point to attend all our meetings and participate actively. I think we could have had a greater representation from the district and a greater, ambassador from the district who keeps attending us and motivating us. Thanks, Brother Rumi. Really appreciate you attend all our meetings and encouraging us.
Please carry the message to the visiting officer that he doesn't attend our meetings.
Thank you, Brother Madhav.
Yeah. No, Brother Rumi, seriously, this has come from the heart. I think, personally to me, as well as to many of us, I think you have been a mentor, you have been guiding us. I think even for Lord Silvery Dawn, I think you take your time out and you attend all our meetings fully. I think we can't expect, anything more. And you have been giving us a lot of valuable suggestions, which we'll definitely try to implement. I think from Lord Silvery Dawn and as a master, I really would like to thank you for that. And brethren, I would like to thank my DOC as usual. He has always been there with me, and all my senior brethren, very worshipful Brother Venkat, Brother Vishwa, Brother Peter, Brother Abel, Dr. Char. Everybody has been there supporting, along with my fellow brethren, I would say like Brother John, Brother Manoj, Brother Ankit, Brother Worshipful Brother Niranjan, Brother Sushil. I think it's been a fantastic year so far, despite all the challenges. I think we have had a great run as a lodge. I think we need to keep up the thing, and we need to sort of not just look at our laurels, but also look at some of the pitfalls, what has been highlighted, and try to come out of it and become a more stronger lodge in the coming years. Thank you once again. We look forward to your participation in the next meeting. Thank you very much, and good night, brethren.
Thank you, Worshipful
Thank you.
Master.
Good
for
night.
God,
Thank you.
Brother
Thank
Chris.
you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you. Good night.
brethren. Thank
Good
you
night.
for hosting us, Venkat. Thank you.
Not at all. My pleasure.